And good evening, Abernathy, Texas. Good evening, fans of the Abernathy Antelopes and Lady Lopes. Ty Horsford, Chance Rocha, and we are outside the box on this Tuesday night, live on location tonight at the Abernathy Antelope High School Gym. It is senior night for the Lady Lope and Antelope basketball teams. You've got the Lady Lopes wrapping up their regular season here in just a little while with their final game against Floydada. And Chance, the boys have a week or so left of the regular season, but they are participating in senior night as well. But first, we are outside the box, episode number 20. How are we doing this evening?
We made it. 20 episodes, Ty.
20 going on 21.
There you go. That's right. Well, you made it. We're doing good. It's a beautiful scene we got here. Lots of decorations for senior night here at the gym. Everything looks great. Lots of pictures and balloons and all kinds of fun stuff. So it looks like a good night for a double dip, a double dose of Antelope victories too.
And we are actually at halftime of the JV boys game here in the Antelope Gym, and it was a pretty tight game when I got here a little bit ago, Chance, but a late first half flurry by the JV Antelopes, and they've got a 29-17 lead over at the Floydada Whirlwinds at halftime. But let's just jump right in, and let's take a look around Abernathy ISD. It's been all basketball all the time the last month or so, and starting to wind down, especially for the junior high and JV teams. Obviously, we hope the varsity teams still have a little bit more left in the tank, Chance, but junior high basketball, in fact, wrapped up here at the Antelope Gym last night.
Yep, they did. 7th and 8th grade. Boys and girls both played last night. The clean sweep. Everybody got a victory. So good job by them. They kind of dominated Sundown. The girls ended their season, and the boys still have one matchup that they have this coming week. They still have to play New Home. The 7th and 8th grade boys do as well. And the 7th and 8th grade group were also in a tournament over the weekend in Floydada, Texas. Ty, I had the pleasure of being in whirlwind country all of Saturday. And so kind of a crazy deal how they did the tournament. It was supposed to be separate, boys and girls. They moved it all to one weekend, which was pretty nice. So we were able to watch some of the boys and some of the girls' games on both ends. And so it was pretty cool. A pretty successful weekend trip. They did it to where you were in a bracket prior. Some teams play bracket games 2 weeks ago. And so both the 7th and 8th grade girls went into the consolation bracket. They were unable to get into the winner's bracket with their play-in game. And so the 7th grade girls ended up getting third. They beat New Home to get third in the tournament. They were still second overall in district behind New Deal to end the season. And then the 8th grade girls ended up in fourth overall, and then they actually ended up being in third overall in district. So got fourth in the tournament, third in regular season, but both of them entire tournament and won it. So they got first in district, and they're going to get first in that tournament as well.
You know, and especially in the 7th grade side of things, specifically, you look at the girls, they end up playing New Deal kind of in their bracket game, if you will, play-in game. Really pretty clearly in that 7th grade girls division, Abernathy and New Deal clearly the two best teams in the district, but unfortunately, New Deal beat Abernathy in that play-in game, so that sent New Deal to the championship bracket, which, by my understanding, they kind of rolled to that championship. And Abernathy rolled to their third-place finish as well. But successful season nonetheless for our junior high teams. And then, Chance, obviously the JV teams have been matched up schedule-wise with the varsity teams, and they've been doing well. They have been rolling through district play, both teams winning against kind of lesser competition the last couple of times out, most recently over Tahoka on Friday night, just as the varsity did. As we mentioned, the JV boys have a 9-point lead currently over the Floydada Whirlwinds. But again, the JV girls finishing up their season here tonight against Floydada. They're playing as we speak over in the high school gym. And so not sure exactly how that one is going, but hopefully the Lady Lopes getting a victory over Floydada. And then we switch it to the varsity level, Chance. We're kind of at the point we can kind of start talking playoffs.
Yep, talking playoffs, and really already have some games scheduled for the girls. It looks like they're going to go in. They're going to be outright district champions likely, and then you're also going to win the 1 seed in the big school division. So you're going to go ahead and leading into that, you're going to be playing, it looks like, a Hell Center team in Littlefield next Monday, Ty, at 6 o'clock. And so I already got that game slated and scheduled, and so we know where we land in the playoffs.
Breaking news.
Breaking here. OTB, I know some people kind of knew that, but we found that out today. We had heard some murmurs of it, but it was confirmed earlier today. And so girls is already scheduled. Boys is really decided as far as teams. What they're really playing for, Ty, is that district, that gold ball, trying to get that district championship.
And with which I've been outspokenly not a fan of how the UIL is doing the postseason this year in basketball. Kind of once the 4 teams qualify for the postseason, based on just those 4 teams, it's been being broken up, big school and small school, 2 schools to each division. So you've got, for example, you've got an Abernathy team that comes into tonight's game with Floydada tied with New Home currently for the first place in district. But regardless, you could finish first in district, you could finish third in district, but because New Home and Floydada both heading small school in the postseason on the boys' side, you've pretty much already clinched the number 1 seed in the large school 2A bracket on the boys' side. So we know that matches you up against the Hell Center Owls. And so a long-time rivalry on both the girls' and boys' side being renewed in the first round of the playoffs. And wouldn't be surprised at all if that boys' game ends up being in Littlefield as well. But I have not heard confirmation of that information yet. But, again, mark your calendars. Less than a week away, Chance. The Lady Lopes start their playoff journey.
They do.
Against the Health Center Lady Owls.
And we kind of talked about it. Now that you don't have the 4 teams going in, it's just 1 and 2 seeds. And so the competition is going to get a lot tougher, a lot quicker. And we kind of talked about it earlier today. You look at it and think you're getting a Health Center team that hasn't had a strong, season, but still nonetheless, they've been competitive. And they're going to go in as a 2 seed. You play them. If you beat them, you're going to face a Panhandle team. You're going to face a Panhandle team most likely that is number 2 in the state overall in 2A. And they've beat the likes of a Canyon team early in the season, which Canyon had some girls still in volleyball, but still, nevertheless, they beat that team, and they've played in a tough district. And so, it's why you play the game, and Coach Mikey knows that. Whoever you face, you got to go out and battle and play it to the best of your ability. And you kind of mentioned it, Ty, with the boys. Not sure what their side of the bracket is. It may not be as heavy as far as favorites. Abernathy may be one of those other ones because a lot of the schools that are ranked look like they may be going to the small school side, like a Floydada and like a New Home, because it's the same for us. It looks like it's going to be New Deal and Abernathy being the representatives from this district. And so we'll see where everything lands and how everything lays out. You're going to be playing these next 2 games at home to really fight for that district title. So hopefully they can battle and make a competitive game here tonight and then follow it up with a game on Friday against New Home.
Switching gears just a little bit, Chance, the powerlifting Lady Lopes and Antelopes got their powerlifting season started this past week. And Coach Bloskus coaches the powerlifting bunch, and they went to Dawson for a
big city.
Big city of Dawson, Texas, for a powerlifting meet, but fared pretty well. On the girls' side, you had first place finishes in their weight category, in their weight class, by Naya Contreras, Jenny Rivera, and Sydney Miller, all placing first in their weight division. And then on the boys' side, you had a few first place finishes. Micah Cortez, along with Case Heinrich and Kaysen Calloway, all finishing first place in their weight division. And then you had second place finishes by Stephen Oswalt, Jalen Reyes, and then a fourth place finish by Kagan Sue. So a pretty good powerlifting meet out in Dawson for the Antelopes and Lady Lopes as they kind of got their powerlifting season underway.
Yeah, it's exciting. I know that's something that it's not a huge thing, but it's another one of those things, that another opportunity for kids to compete here in Abernathy, and it's one of those things to where you want to pour into that passion, whether it's powerlifting or weightlifting, whatever that may be, and just teaching them proper skills and getting them another opportunity to compete. So, Tom, it's that time of the year as well. We talked about Little League signups. Baseball's in full spring. We talked to Coach A last week with softball, and we were able to sit down with Coach Carrasco or visit with them earlier today, and they actually already had their first scrimmage, and lo and behold, it was yesterday.
It was beautiful.
Warmest day of the year we've had. He mentioned it. He kind of told us off air that they took a cooler loaded down with water just so those boys could stay hydrated. And he said it got hot enough that they almost finished all the water and all the snacks that they had in their cooler just because it was so warm. And they traveled. They had their first scrimmage of the year all the way in Denver City. And he kind of talked a little bit about that in the interview, so I don't want to spoil too much of it. But we got to visit with Coach Carrasco earlier today and kind of learn about the kickoff to this upcoming Antelope baseball season.
Awesome. Well, we're here with Coach Carrasco, head baseball coach here of the Abernathy Antelopes. Coach, thanks for taking a few minutes just to chat baseball. Spring is here, and we're ready to kind of jump into baseball season. I guess, first of all, just reflecting from last year, heading into this year, kind of how have you seen your team grow? Obviously, still a lot to be determined. You're just getting started with practices and first scrimmage yesterday, but kind of how have you seen your team grow, and kind of what do you expect in that area heading into this season?
Well, last year's team, they had a lot of experience in there and playoff experience, and that's kind of something that we're lacking this year. Some of our younger guys, I say younger guys, they're now juniors and seniors. Some of those guys didn't quite experience that playoff run and the grind and the hard work and what it takes to get to that second season. And so I think last year we made a lot of headway with some of those young kids, and now we're relying on them. I mean, they got some good experience last year playing, even though we weren't as successful as we wanted to last year. We had a great senior class that were my coaches out on the field, whenever we weren't able to get there. And so those younger guys we're really going to have to rely on this year.
When you look at some of those guys stepping into more leadership roles this year, who are some of those guys that come to mind for you?
Well, we have a few. And there's some seniors too that maybe they were injured last year. Caleb Brown was a huge part of our team on his sophomore year. He was obviously on the skilled enough to make it on the varsity roster as a freshman, and has a little bit of playoff experience. So he's coming off shoulder surgery, and we're looking for him to step up and fill that void for guys like Monkey and Levi Carrillo, who were our guys last year. And then as far as the younger classmen, our sophomores last year that played a huge role in pitching were like Xavier Camacho and Ryan Martinez. And those guys are going to be probably our 1-2 as seniors. I mean, they're definitely going to dominate in 2A whenever they get all healthy and stuff. So
yeah, that's a good segue kind of into the next question. Obviously, at least from a competition and who we're playing and schedule standpoint, making the drop down from 3A to 2A this year. In all of our sports. And we've kind of asked all of our coaches this question. Obviously, that presents its own challenges and differences, but kind of what do you expect from your group and kind of how you stack up against the 2A district that we're going to be heading into?
Well, realignment came out last spring. Baseball realignment is a little bit different than football and basketball realignment. It comes out in late March or even April. And so our kids were excited, and I told them, even from a football standpoint, that hey, we're dropping down, but I think our schedule's gotten tougher, especially football. And, you look at some of the basketball programs, even in our girls' side, it's gotten a lot tougher. And so we can't take things for granted. We've got to maintain that expectation up here at 3A. We're playing the shallow waters, the walls, the Bronx, and continue that mindset. And hopefully that'll pay off in the end. The biggest thing as far as going down to 2A, as far as maybe some disadvantages, is that not all 2A programs have a baseball program.
Yeah.
Most of them do. Maybe they don't have a JV program. And so I think that's going to hurt us a little bit, that our kids, not all of our JV kids are going to get to play a full schedule in district play. And so that always hurts. We always want our kids just playing, just get some games in, let's play and let's learn and get after it.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. Obviously, had a beautiful day yesterday. Got your first scrimmage under your belt at Denver City. Kind of what were some takeaways? Obviously, you don't have a full squad yet. You've got some guys still playing basketball. But what were some takeaways from that first scrimmage yesterday?
Denver City's always been a great baseball program, and they've, in fact, I think it was the year before I got here, and this being my third year, that we had met them in the second round of the playoffs and beat them in a 2 out of 3. And so I told our guys, hey, this is a playoff perennial program, and they went up there and weren't afraid. Our older guys went up there and competed. They put the ball in play. Some of our younger guys were a little bit bright-eyed, shell shocked a little bit about
Mm-hmm.
the speed of the game. And, for the first time, some of those young freshman guys saw 80, 85 for the first time in their life. So it was a good learning experience. Defensively, I thought we did well. We did some of our fundamental stuff that we need to on base hits, and throwing to the correct bag, just a little bit fundamental stuff that you take for granted. And some of the young guys responded pretty well. We've got some inexperienced seniors who have come out for the first time this year, and they were impressive defensively, making routine plays. Overall, still, like you said, we got a lot of work in,
Yep.
and we've got help coming. Hopefully, not for a long time. Let the boys in basketball play on
For
in
sure.
March. That's
For
the
sure.
goal.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, pretty pleased. With the guys that we expect to go to battle with every day. And like I said, they put the ball in play, and we pitched pretty decently. And so
Awesome.
happy with those guys.
Very cool. Obviously, Coach, you've been a part of some different programs and whatnot throughout your career. What makes Abernathy kind of stand out, or what's special about coaching and being a part of this school and community?
Well, it's kind of personal to me because ever since I started coaching, it's always been on my radar. It's always been a tight knit community, family being the number one thing, and kids grow up, they grow on to college and everything, and then they come back. Why? Because of that family, because of people. I mean, you got people moving in here from different places because our schools are great, our kids are great, and the one thing I love about small school is that our kids grind together, they win together.
Yeah.
Football, they bleed together, and they sweat together and get after it and win together. And so if they can continue that, and they've gotten that confidence in football, and then they move it on into basketball, and then we're successful at track and baseball, and that it's going to be pretty good. And it's a great thing to be a part of, and a lot of people want to be a part of it. So.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Last but certainly not least, Coach, baseball aside, obviously you spend most of your time coaching and with these kiddos, it's a lot of time spent. But outside of school, outside of baseball, who's Coach Carrasco? What do you like to do for fun out when you're not on the baseball field?
Oh man, that's playing golf. Well, whenever I can, like the 5 times a year I get a chance.
Yeah.
But other than that, is chasing my daughters around. I've got a daughter that goes to OU, and so anytime I get a chance to run up there
For sure.
family weekend or whatever it may be, I'm headed to OU or to Norman. But most of it's really spent chasing my daughter who goes to Childress. She's a sophomore at Childress, and so it's volleyball, it's basketball now. So any free time I get, I'm on the road. I'm tearing it up, all over.
For sure.
Following her around all over the Panhandle. So I enjoy it. It gives me time to think and clear my head and everything. And if I'm not doing that, I'm actually working trying to pay for that OU tuition.
There you go. There you go.
So,
well, awesome, Coach. Well, thanks for the time today, and good luck this season.
I thank you guys for what you do and supporting Abernathy athletics and our kids. Without you guys, I know a lot of people at home wouldn't be able to watch our kids and to support our program. So thank you much.
Awesome. Thanks, sir.
And welcome back here to Outside the Box. Thanks to Coach Jaime Carrasco for joining us on the program today. And Chance, you kind of heard a pretty thorough preview there of the upcoming baseball season and baseball district. Obviously, we talked with him like we have the other coaches about what the drop down to Class 2A is going to look like. Still going to be stiff competition, and it's just going to be another season, I think, for the baseball team. I think they're going to be probably more competitive this year. But again, they're going to need guys with not a lot of experience step up into big roles. He talked about young guys that have a year of experience under their belt from last year, going to really have to be leaders on this ball club, and will be interesting and fun to see how the baseball season plays out.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting, and it's Coach Carrasco's 3rd year here at Abernathy, and, he's actually – credit to him, he's one win away from 100 wins as a head baseball coach. So that's a pretty cool factor right there. His assistant coach, Cash Fortune, I think that they're excited. You heard in the interview the things that they're excited about, just that, seeing some of those veteran guys that have been on varsity, may not have had their playoff experience, but have been on there. They were able to adapt to some of that pitching they saw yesterday at Denver City, but then also some of those young guys being able to get some of that experience and being able to see, the things that are coming to be. And then, you have some guys that possibly are going to be coming up from the basketball squad, like a Maverick Shadden, who's going to come over and help, and a Ryan Hillis, and maybe some of those younger guys. But I think at the end of the day, it's a squad that he's pretty confident in, he's excited about. You have the likes of Jackson Arrington, Caleb Brown, Carson Curry, Xavier Camacho, and Ryan Martinez. Those last two are guys that he mentioned as some leaders that he's going to have on the mound,
yep.
that are some junior guys. So that way, they were pitching them last year quite a bit, but as juniors having that experience, and then he's hoping that'll carry over this season and in the next season. But it was funny to me that he mentioned that winning is contagious.
Yeah.
From football now into basketball.
Well, and other coaches have mentioned the same thing.
Yep.
And when you play at a small school and all of your kids do all the things, if you win in basketball, you oftentimes win in baseball. If you win in football, you oftentimes win in basketball. And it is contagious. Just like losing can be contagious.
It can be.
It's a mentality, and so I thought that was very interesting how Coach Carrasco kind of spoke into that. But excited about baseball, and you talked about those two guys on the mound. Chance, let's be honest. Anybody that knows baseball, it starts on the mound.
It does.
You have to have pitching in order to be successful, and those two guys offer a pretty good 1-2 punch, if you will, and then kind of piece it together after that. But excited for baseball season, and again, a huge thank you to Coach Carrasco for joining us today. Chance, as we kind of wrap up our show with a few parting thoughts on this Tuesday night before some antelope hoops here in just a little bit. This past week, the Abernathy Elementary, they celebrated the 100th day of school. That's always kind of a fun day for students. They do different activities and different things, and so they got to do that. They also just recently finished up on the elementary campus the American Heart Challenge, where they had elementary students raising money for the American Heart Association. Back in the day, we called it Jump Rope for Heart.
Yeah.
Same organization, same idea, though, raising money for a good cause. Again, just teaching kiddos how to do some of those things outside the classroom.
Yep, do those things outside the classroom. And, the 100th day of school, that's always fun. It's a good way to kind of earmark, and it's something fun for those elementary teachers to do. My daughter, she thought it was hilarious. She comes home from pre-K, and they made her picture look like an old lady, and she just thought it was so much fun. And then, man, that Kids Heart Challenge, those kids get amped up for it, Ty. They get excited. They get excited about getting those keychains and the T-shirt that they can win and all the things. And, they always do an extra reward for students who raise X amount of dollars. I think it was $200 or $250 this year. And so any student that raised that much is going to get to slime a coach or slime a teacher. And so hopefully they'll get to do that here later on this semester, and we'll have some fun pictures to share with everybody.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. Major stock shows in full swing, so lots of Abernathy 4-H, lots of Abernathy FFA exhibitors going to different major stock shows around the state. If you've got pictures, results from those, send them our way. We would love to share those on our broadcast, but an exciting time of year in the show world, Chance. And for the first time, I think ever, this coming weekend on Saturday, our Abernathy junior basketball team will take on teams from Ropes in junior basketball. All those games going to be here among the three gyms here in Abernathy, high school gym, practice gym, as well as the Alamo, hosting games for junior basketball this weekend. And so that'll be a lot of fun. And lots of counselors celebrated across our campuses this week, too.
Good counselors.
Good counselors. I think we've talked to every one of them on here on Outside the Box, but Amy Magallanes, Karen Nick, and Jill Forbes kind of handling the counselor duties here at Abernathy ISD. They do a great job, and the campuses have been celebrating them this week.
Yeah, those are some good people to celebrate. They all do a great job on the campus and partnered with our admins and our teachers, and just do great things for those elementary kiddos, those middle school kids, and the high school kids. Just getting them prepared for life and showing them things outside of just the classroom activities and helping them be successful. So kudos to those counselors, and they deserve to be celebrated this week, Ty. And as always, our next show is going to be next Tuesday as the Abernathy Antelopes are hosting, I believe.
Yes,
Nope.
that is correct. It will be here.
Yeah, they're hosting, and so it'll be next Tuesday. But our next broadcast will
Against
be
New Home.
Yep, will be Friday, and so we'll also.
Oh no, you know what? We're home against New Home and then at New Deal.
Yeah, so
next Tuesday at home against New Home.
Yep. Either way, our next broadcast will be Friday for the basketball game, and then likely Monday for that playoff game for the girls. So tune in for that, and as we kind of cut off the air here and get ready for senior night for these Lopes and Lady Lopes, Ty.
Yep, tune back in here in about 15 minutes, and we'll have action here from the Antelope Gym. The Antelope JV boys currently a 51-40 lead with about 2.5 minutes left in the ball game. So for a few minutes anyway, we'll say good night.
God bless.
And go Lopes.